Hi, welcome back to another episode of VCTV, which is Capital TV, and it's from LATOKEN. My name is Sunny Mohanty. I'm the host of the show VCTV, and yes, I welcome you all today. Before I jump into the topic, which is about fintech and payments and investments around that, I just want to announce a big news that just happened. So it's Coinbase, one of the crypto exchanges, is listing for US 100 billion on NASDAQ. Wow, isn't it a historic moment for the crypto industry? So I just wanted to open up the session with this big news. So what happens next when a crypto exchange goes public? So all attention on that. And Bitcoin is shooting up as well. So which means the mass adoption that we spoke about a couple of years ago is happening. It's going to happen soon because people are more and more realizing the use case and the utility of this, of the cryptocurrencies actually. In the payment space as well, I mean, obviously FinTech covers cryptocurrencies as well. So let's talk about the different use cases, investments about this topic today. So again, I welcome you all to another episode of VCTV. And today I'm joined here by Kingsley and Alpesh. Hi guys, welcome back. How are you today?
Konnichiwa, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. Nice weather here. It's raining, but it's good here. It's a pleasure to be back on VTV talking with Sonny. And sorry, I'm going to read this. Can I call you Apesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Apesh from Capital.
Alpesh, you're mute.
Always a pleasure to be here.
You have to say that once on a call, right? You're on mute. Otherwise, it's not a proper video call.
So Alpesh, is it Alpesh or is it Apesh? Or is it L is silent?
Alpesh or Al is fine.
L is fine. Okay.
We'll go with Al.
Oh, for short. I'm going to call you King for short. King, is that okay, Kingsley?
People call me Kings who are close to me here.
Okay, perfect. So let's have a little bit of intro and background about each of you. Let's start with King. Slay.
Okay, I think everybody already know me. I'm a serial entrepreneur, investor, blockchain investor, fintech, commercial real estate. I have my own pharmaceutical company. I'm the founder of Kobayashi Group, which have different companies under it. I'm also the co-founder of FGC Group, a blockchain company that is investing into different cryptocurrencies and different blockchain projects. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sonny, for having me again.
Fantastic. And welcome back again, Kingsley. Yes, and Alpesh, good morning. I know you're dialing in from London.
So, I'm in London, yes, yeah. I'm Alpesh Doshi. I'm a fintech guy. I've been in fintech and financial services for 20 plus years. I run a tech company, and Redcliffe Capital is the investment firm that I work with. My background is technology and financial services and blockchain. Been working in blockchain for about 6 years. Met the Ethereum team back in 2014 when they shared our office for a couple of months. So got into Ethereum back in 2014 before they launched the network. Wow. So been pretty long in the blockchain space. Yeah, so there we go. So payments and fintech is absolutely important. I was working on payments, a payments venture called Zariant back in 2015 using blockchain, which was about 5 years too early. So
correct. You can wake it up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My apologies, a little bit of technical glitch. And Alpesh, did you just say that you're working with Ethereum way back? Is that correct?
Yeah, so the Ethereum team shared our office. They're just in their ICO on October 2014, which is when they did it. Came over. They, for whatever reason, decided to choose the office that we're in. And we shared their office. They sat up, Vitalik's opposite me for like a couple of days out of the 2 months, and he was there. Obviously, at that time, who knew who Vitalik was? Nobody knew Vitalik, right? It was like, and so, read the white paper, thought, this is going to change the world. I'm a technologist. I did distributed technology. I read what it said. I thought, this is going to change the world.
Absolutely.
And so that's when I started working in blockchain.
And yes, today with the big news with Coinbase, so San Francisco-based cryptocurrency exchange is going public. is a big news for the industry itself, be it blockchain or crypto. So let's talk about some of the trends for 2021, as we've seen. So in the space of fintech and payments and the use case of blockchain technology and the crypto in the payment space. So fintech industry is fast moving, growing 20% annually and expected to be valued at over 300 billion by 2025. So what does that mean for people like yourself, Alpesh and Kingsley, in terms of investments? So let's just hear from you about the opening trend, the opening remarks about the trends for 2021. Let's start with Alpesh, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, being in the blockchain world and financial services, you as with most people in the market back in 2014, 15, you saw the craze and you're going, wow, this is going to be huge. It's going to change the world. It's going to change the industry. And we've seen the sort of boom and bust cycles around the use of blockchain technology and the application and the misapplication of blockchain. And then the winter of crypto and blockchain happened between 2018 and 2020, sort of, mid 2020, late 2020, Q3, Q4 started coming out. And for whatever reason, Bitcoin has gone crazy. I knew Bitcoin when it was $700, $400 or something, even less, I think. And it's gone crazy. I think if you know about the Gartner adoption curve and the hype curve they talk about with the trough of disillusionment and the adoption, I think the great thing is now that the adoption is now starting, which is fantastic. It's only taken 5 years, 6 years to get here. Gartner talk about 10-year cycles. So we're in year 6 of that cycle. So therefore, I think we're at the place where a lot of innovation and technologies happen over the last 3 or 4 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's one of the key things that, technology 5 years ago was just too early. It was just too early. It wasn't mature enough. Now technology is developed. So I would say most of the technology you need to build application solutions, adoptions is there. But now it's transforming businesses, creating companies to scale. And I think we're at the beginning of that. Coinbase listing, that's a sign that the mainstream industry will start to adopt it, because from the basic reason that if you have a company that was 100 billion, all the asset managers have to buy shares in it and put it into their funds. They've got to do it. If a company is worth that much, that means asset managers now have to do analysis of a company like Coinbase and have to put them in their portfolios, which obviously then they have to convince their investors, which is us, this is mainstream. So that's what's going to drive that. That's one of the reasons why the mainstream is going to happen.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. The mainstream is happening. Absolutely. Thank you, Alpesh, for those opening remarks. Kingsley, over to you with your opening remarks about fintech trends.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sonny. We're one of the lucky ones to go into fintech blockchain at the early stages, and living in Japan and being one of the countries that actually embraced fintech and blockchain, had the first exchanges, had the first regulations. We're at the right place at the right time, and we took opportunity of that. But unfortunately, people still don't understand the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency, or blockchain and Bitcoin. They still mix them up. They don't know these are coins that are built on blockchains. Cryptocurrencies are built on blockchain, but they kind of think of blockchain as its own cryptocurrency, which is very wrong assumption. So I think education need to be done in this space. Blockchain itself is still very, very, very young. And the potential of use cases of blockchain are just so many, from payment system to medical data to identity data. A lot of things can be built on blockchain, and it's all fintech related. But what we are seeing with Coinbase and seeing with Ripple in Japan is what encourages me right now to say, okay, blockchain is now the future. As opposed to when we started, people were scared that we were fighting against the banks. We were fighting against finance. Bring traditional finance and fintech together. You now have banks that are using repo to make transfer in Japan to make it faster. So the more the traditional finance embrace it, the more they are able to work together, like Coinbase being listed. Is that is big news that would drive Bitcoin product, drive other altcoins. Bitcoin is not the only cryptocurrency out there. You have Ethereum, you have Ripple, you have different altcoins, EOS, Litecoin. You have even the ones that are not that popular right now that people can still put their money in. So we need to educate the public on the use cases of blockchain, and then projects on blockchain. Whether it's a cryptocurrency project on blockchain, or it's putting a refinery, or what do you call it, mining on blockchain, and then the data, the transparency, the security, the immutability that blockchain will add to it. People don't understand that. That's why they say it as, oh, it's going to be fraudulent purposes. That is not true. Blockchain is more transparent than the currency we have right now, because fiat currency have been around for hundreds of years, and yet people are still using it for fraud. But with the way blockchain is built, you are able to trace. There's a footprint that enables you to track where the money is going, where the money is coming from, what is being used for, how your money is being invested, and things like that. I think we need more education in this space for the public to understand it, for the layman to understand what blockchain and cryptocurrency is about.
Correct. Kingsley, very rightly said. I mean, a lot of things are happening, as you mentioned, Ripple in Japan as well. I think a lot of payment players blockchain players have come into the payment space. So talking about payments and blockchain players, what's happening in the real-time payments? How do we see this technology of distributed ledger technology going to disrupt the current traditional payments industry? Alpesh?
I think it's a hard one. Payments, everybody's been talking about payments since I've been in blockchain, and how, we just know how long. The reality around payments is that the reality around payments is that payments is very sensitive. It's based on governments controlling their currencies.
Yeah.
We're seeing central bank digital currencies taking off, and I'm actually asked to write a chapter in a book on that at the moment, around CBDCs and NFTs. And so, there is interest from central banks. Obviously, if they're going to create a digital currency, that changes the way payments could potentially work.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about crypto payments, I think it's an enthusiast thing rather than a mainstream thing. I still don't believe payments at this stage won't be using crypto payments or Bitcoin for payments anytime soon, even for Ether. I mean, Ether has obviously moved on. I think the payments industry is so embedded, it's so archaic, but it's so integrated. Penetrating that to say, dump all that and create this new way of doing payments, frankly, just has not happened in 6 years. And I don't really think it's going to happen to any kind of scale anytime soon.
So I think you mentioned a very good point. So we have CBDCs, which is obviously endorsed by the central governments. Then we have other cryptocurrencies as well. And because cryptocurrencies in payments, I think it's about financial inclusion, to give access to people to money when there is none, like especially in the emerging economies. To open a bank account, obviously you need a lot of background, credit history, and for those people who do not have that, it's very difficult for them to gain access to that finance. I think the use case of crypto in that sector is quite prominent, as I see. But let's just move away from that sector a bit and just focus on the remittances. How do you think the adoption of blockchain technology? Ripple is one of the biggest players in that. How has that changed or brought up a disruption to the traditional industry, if any? If you can share any instances.
Let me just add a little bit to what Al said earlier about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies being used right now. Japan is a use case. I live in Tokyo for 30 years now, and I have seen how they have moved from traditional finance to a cashless society, where you have QR codes that your children can use to pay for buses. They can use to pay for train. They don't carry cash along anymore. You have 7-Eleven Holdings who uses Nanako as a payment system. So I think the digital payment system or electronic payment system and crypto payment system are two different things. Crypto payment system, like you said, is still on a very early stage. But there are already institutions here that accept Bitcoin as payment. For example, Big Camera. When you go to Big Camera in Japan, you can pay with your cryptocurrency, depending that is Bitcoin or Ethereum or although it's the major coins. But that is encouraging that at least they accept it. Now we have China coming up with their own digital currency, yuan. We have Japan looking at coming up with a digital currency. Like I said, this will change the way that people look at it because the pandemic has made us realize that fiat currency is one of the major ways of transferring viruses. Apart from Princess Diamond ship that came to Japan, the other way that the virus came to Japan was through contact with money. The first person that got the virus in Japan was from a taxi driver. The guy gave money to a taxi driver, he got his change back, and then the taxi driver had COVID because probably sneezed, coughed, touched his nose or whatever, and touched the money and gave to him. And then he went to a party on the ship, and then he got sick, and the mother got sick. And also, we are already realizing that we don't need dirty money around anymore. The truth is, in developed countries, currencies are still very neat. When you go to developing countries and you look at currencies, when you look at the paper money, you don't even want to touch it. And that is the truth. I have seen it myself. So adoption of digital currency is going to be very wide right now. But when you come to crypto, people are skeptical. But countries like Japan are embracing it. Why other countries are not embracing it yet? Then to go to your question of remittance, trans-border transactions. There are regulations that the central government of every country have in controlling their currencies, in the way you are able to transfer money. But digital payment system or cryptocurrency will kind of solve that, make it faster. Like them using Ripple right now in Japan has made it, instead of 3 days to 1 week, it's now a few hours. You will get money in a different country because they are adopting, they are marrying. This is good. Then if we are able to create a system that will allow immigrants, for example, refugees, to be able to send money back to their relatives back home or to their loved ones back home or their loved ones sending money to them because they actually don't have a legal status. So they cannot go to the bank. So that's money wherever they are. So if we are able to create a system for the unbankables or those who does not have bank accounts or does not have legal status to be able to remit money or get money, then we have good use cases for digital currency, trans-border transaction, and we have good use cases for individuals that really need it. Like if my grandma can go to a community center and change money that I already put in her wallet to fiat currency or be able to use it in a community store to buy something, then we are already on our way to a cashless world, not a cashless country right now, because some countries are falling behind. Some are very fast forward.
I think, Kingsley, you've touched on a point which is very close to my heart. Like, obviously, I live in Singapore and we have a lot of foreign workers here who are from emerging countries like Bangladesh and, Indonesia. And they work here in Singapore and they don't have bank accounts, and they use Western Union to remit money, and mostly. And I've seen the kind of fees they deduct is a huge for the amount they earn here. I think if somebody can come up with a solution, like I know I have done crypto transfers myself in payments. I've used crypto payments. It's instantaneous, few seconds, and absolutely the transaction fees are nothing. It's next to nothing. I mean, yes, you rightly said, Kingsley. I mean, that's a use case there for sure. Great. So talking about investments, Alpesh, I mean, you just mentioned that coming over to you, that the asset managers, obviously, because with Coinbase going public, and these asset managers will be forced to look at this portfolio, this asset class now. So as an investor, how do you evaluate which startup to invest in terms of the new emerging technologies in like crypto? Blockchain has been around for a while. And we know blockchain is not crypto, and crypto is not blockchain. As an investor, you know you've been in Ethereum, like you met Vitalik as well, and you know Ethereum as well. Like you've been working with them closely. For an investor like you, who has a lot of knowledge in the space and know that crypto is not blockchain or Bitcoin is not crypto. I mean, Bitcoin is crypto, but they are different. So what kind of investments are you looking to make in the startups in the space?
So, I mean, if you look at a startup in any space is the same as, you know, I wouldn't differentiate between how you invest in non-blockchain startups and blockchain startups. You know, I think, you know, if you're looking at it now, the core infrastructure investments have been done, and there are enough layer 1, layer 2 companies out there. So the question is still which ones are going to survive, which one's going to get adopted. And it's a whole complex model around industry specific. So I know, for example, one that I was talking to for a while who are working in the telco space, purely in the telco space, and providing a blockchain-y solution for the telco space specifically. So we're seeing you know, and then there's a whole bunch of different ones, like Algorand is really recent in terms of the next generation of tech. For me right now, it's really looking at where are the applications of the core technology. That's where the opportunities are. Now, the question isn't the technology. The question is what's their business model around adoption. So you can now build NFTs. As an example, NFTs has gone crazy. I didn't think art would be one of the first right NFTs, but for whatever reason, it's taken off significantly.
So if not art, then which one did you you thought?
Is it OpenSea? So OpenSea just raised a large amount. Is it OpenSea?
Yeah, OpenSea.
Right, yeah. They raised a large amount of money recently, primarily because they've got huge numbers of artists who have put their digital works on it. Right, that's the reason why it's got funding. And for me, that's what you got to look for. So if you're looking for investment, you've got to see to yourself, well, have they got traction in a particular industry? Have they got traction in a particular sector? Now, who knows about art, right? I don't know about art. If for some reason it's taken off, it's happened. People are more interested in it. Hey, that's fantastic. So for me, when I'm looking for stuff, it's really looking at how is a blockchain being applied to a particular problem or a solution, whether it's a consumer play or a B2B play. How are they planning to get the adoption in that particular industry? So in the B2B space, you know, in enterprise blockchain, as people call it, you know, R3 and Corda. R3 have been around for 6-7 years. 6 years,
yeah.
7 years.
Yeah.
They've got a large amount of funding. They're now becoming a player and getting adoption. If you look at the adoption curve and look at the companies that they're incubating, the use cases, it's all B2B use cases. They're getting great. They've got hundreds of companies using and building on Corda, which is amazing, right? Yeah. But then you've got things like Algorand, you've got Hedera Hashgraph, you've got you know, a whole bunch of other ones, and the thing with them is they've got huge amounts of cash. Cardano is another one. They've got huge amounts of cash, and they're using that cash to force adoption by offering grant, by offering people to build stuff on their platforms. I don't know if I believe that that's how you're going to get scale, by saying, well, I'm going to throw money at it, and hopefully these guys will build tech, which will then use our platform, which will then get further adoption. So for me, what do you invest in? You invest in traditional business solutions, business solving real problems, solving a market need. You got to think about that first, and then think about, okay, well, if you're talking about NFT, so let's talk, NFTs are now gone crazy. So there are lots of opportunities for NFTs because there is adoption. So that's just fantastic. So for me, one area investing is NFTs, absolutely, but looking at how the whole value chain of NFTs works, and there's a lots of opportunity in that space as just one example.
Oh, so do you think, what about the other traditional VC firms? Are they also have the same mentality? Are they
They're
looking?
still pretty early. I mean, most VCs. So the problem with blockchain is nobody understands it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Still, it's a complex technology. Understanding how it works is still not there. Some of the most progressive, I call them progressive and forward-thinking venture capitalists, like A16Z, Anderson Horowitz, obviously Blockchain Capital, and a bunch of others, and know the space. They've investigated the space. They're always early on adoption of new tech, and they've invested. So, but mainstream VCs, I think they're far away from understanding the application of blockchain. I don't think they're investing. All the crypto funds that were there, I think a lot of them still have large amounts of capital. I know one guys who have a small fund, but they're amazing. These guys are really, really on the ball, and they made a lot of money in the last year. I mean, their fund growth, I get their fund growth, and they've made a lot of money in the last year.
Crypto fund?
Yeah, it's a crypto fund called ID Theory.
Oh, ID Theory, I think.
ID Theory, they're called. You will never heard of them, but they're amazing, these guys, because they really understand the insides and the depths of crypto and tech around that, and the tokens and how they do it in the analysis and the projects. They're really great. And obviously Outlier Ventures. Outlier, amazing. They've just raised 300 million. I think it's 300 million. And I've known Jamie since 2015. You know, when he started this stuff, investing in a bunch of crypto for some of his high net worth individuals that he did it with, and they're doing amazing work. I mean, they are absolutely they're on the ball. They get it. So there are a handful of companies and investors out there who go, actually, they know what they're doing, but it's not mainstream by any stretch.
Right. I think, yeah, good to know about this as well. It's very important for investors and the startups in the space to understand this. Kinsley, you all obviously are also investing into startups in the blockchain technology space. What about crypto? I mean, how do you see it?
Yeah, well, this is like he said, investing in blockchain and investing in traditional business projects are the same. You have to do your due diligence. You know, they may call it white paper, or it's just a business plan. You know, what problem are you trying to solve? Why is it that you are the one that can solve the problem? How does it affect the community? Because it is very important that if you want to do a project, that you tell me how you are going to impact on the society in the next few years. Like NFTs, like you said, NFTs have been around since 2012. People just think it's a new trend. It's not a new trend. It's been around since 2012, but it did not take off. You know, Bitcoin took time to take off. So NFTs is taking time to take off. Now, if not before that, the art was sold for $69 million, nobody will notice that NFTs have been around. You need a big bang to say, okay, this is actually working. And so you have a lot of people going to OpenSea right now because OpenSea is compatible with ERC 1155, right? It is easy to adopt. It is easy for you to meet your own NFT and put it out there, and then you are able to put it up for sale. So what is really important is how simple is it to use?
Yeah.
How affordable is it? You know, to use ERC 155 and OpenSea, you need maybe between $57 to $87, and you are already up there. So it is cost effective. One, it is cost effective. People want to put their money there. Now, as an investor, I look at the potential of the business. I look at the HRO, who are those in charge of the business. What is their background? What have they done before? Right? Then you look at the project itself. What are they trying to solve? You don't just tell me, okay, I'm going to build something in the air and I will believe you. No. At my age, I believe in asset-backed projects, which means if you have any asset-backed crypto project that are good, I will invest with my crypto. But if you also have asset-backed projects that are good and they are traditional, I will also invest in them, whether they are commercial real estate or whether they are, for example, health innovation, health tech. You know, health tech is something that is going to grow, whether you like it or not. It's going to be the next $1 trillion business, because with the pandemic, a lot of developing countries whose rich people used to travel abroad to get treatment, even their presidents. They cannot travel out anymore. So they now realize that they need to invest in their own country. Thanks to the pandemic, because they now need to get treatment there. So you also have telemedicine. People are not doing consultation online. So this is a good area to put your money. As someone that has his own pharmaceutical company, I am looking to doing that myself. So there's a lot of areas you can put your money in. You look at payment system for the unbankables. These are areas you can invest your money in. Then you look at marrying projects together. You have projects that are, I'm a tech guy, for example. Ali is a tech guy. Why don't you work with us, understand the back end of the business to make sure that it works well? Why don't you work with somebody that have a marketing background that can do the marketing? And then you have a good HRO. Then you bring these four companies together and you make a super company that will succeed. I believe this is what, when you look at Ethereum platform, you look at Cardano, you look at Ripple, you look at all of them, is the background. We are in the process of learning every day. The more we invest, the more we learn. We lose sometimes. We invest in some business and it doesn't work out. That is good. But because you are investing in various projects, right? You are versatile. You don't put everything in one basket. Then you are able to make money at the long run, and then you are able to reinvest that money again. So people also have what is called greed, the greed factor. Like those who bought Bitcoin when it was $300, right? Or when it was $7,000, when it was $7,000 last year, it's $62,000 right now. Why don't they sell part of their money, of their Bitcoin? They think it's going to go to 100,000. Maybe it will. Maybe it will not. But if you take 60% of that money out, it becomes your money. It's cash in hand. You may have to pay tax or whatever for it. But then the money you now have left is the money that you are just playing with. It's your interest. So somebody who invested $300 tells me, oh, I am losing money when it was $10,000. I'm like, no, you don't lose money. It went from $20,000 to $10,000. That is greed. You have the opportunity to change part of the money and have cash in hand. But if you are waiting to go to 100,000, 1 million, that is greed. So we have to be able to manage how we are investing. It's just like traditional investing. So we have a lot of companies out there, like our own company, to FGC Group or Kobayashi Group, that can advise you on what to do when it comes to blockchain, when it comes to crypto. So, and when it comes to tech, you talk to people like Al and Ethereum guys or Ripple guys. They'll be able to help you out. So there's a lot of opportunities in the blockchain industry right there.
Right. Great insights. Talking about technology, we cannot forget another technology, artificial intelligence, as well, when it comes to payments, right? So how does the future of fintech and payments can be more smarter by using artificial intelligence in digitizing direct payments and fee revenues? Maybe we get a little technical with artificial intelligence. Anybody would like to speak about this?
Well, I work in AI, so I can talk about it if you want in general.
Yes.
But the thing about digital payments is that if we take China as the example, right? You've got 800 million plus wallets with Alipay and WeChat Pay. These guys have hundreds of millions of wallets already, effectively having a digital currency. That's really what it boils down to. You can make a payment with a wallet, and you can get a loan. You can pay your bills. You can do everything on your wallet. And when I went to China, I've got WeChat Pay. I've got WeChat and WeChat Pay on my phone, right? And you can buy, and okay, it's all in Chinese, so I can't understand it, but I don't. Yeah. But you can pretty much do everything you need in China on your phone. Now, the interesting thing is that they are the world's largest fintech now, Ant Group, right? And they are now talking to their senior execs. I was on a trade mission to China, and we met Eric Jing, who is now the CEO of Ant Group.
Yeah.
And I met their people, and they're basically saying we're buying payments companies around Asia, and they bought companies in Vietnam, in Malaysia, in Pakistan, in India, And they're effectively taking that technology in those countries, and not by the back door, but by applying those payments technologies in those countries. Effectively, we're getting that digital payments happening. It's already happening, and it's not, obviously the governments are now paying attention, because if you saw what happened in China, that's going to happen in all the other countries. So these companies are leaving the governments behind because they're just too slow in implementing it. Governments like India, as an example, are just saying we're blocking everything. We're just regulating it and saying nope, not doing it. Other countries are more liberal and saying yes, then they're not enforcing, they're not stamping down with regulation and law. But the reality is that this kind of payments and adoption of this stuff is already happening in Asia. It's already there. I mean, it's getting adopted widely. In the Western world, whether you're talking in Europe or in the US, it's a bit slower because, yes, look, COVID has changed everything. Everybody's paying digitally with a phone. The number of digital payments has gone up significantly in Europe in the last year or so. But I think governments are still a bit wary about it. Although the Bank of England has been very forward-thinking in research. And this is typical of central banks. In the Western central banks, they do a lot of thinking for many, many years before they actually do something real. So, but we've got to do it now. I mean, the point is they can't wait anymore. They will have to start implementing. And there's a bunch of things going on in the UK. So we'll see in the next 3 years, these in Europe anyway, this kind of stuff will get adopted. In Asia, it's already there by the back door. It's there. Digital payments are there. So when you're saying about wallets and you're saying the unbanked, when I started working on my venture called Zerent back in 2015, the smartphones weren't even there. They didn't have a smartphone in the emerging markets. Now almost everybody has a smartphone. The adoption is great. So the reality is, once you have a digital wallet, which is frankly really easy to put in place, literally you just go on the phone, you download an app, and you've got a wallet, which is effectively a de facto bank account, whether you like it or not. So having a wallet is effectively like a bank account anyway. So do you need to go to a traditional bank and have a bank account? Not really, not anymore. You don't need to. So I think this is why I think the digital adoption of the digitization of payments is frankly already happening in Asia, and that's what 3/4 of the world population. So it's there already.
Yeah, so basically banks become basically they're reduced to ATM machines. Like, you have to draw the cash somewhere if you need cash, right? You store your money.
I hope that doesn't happen. I cannot prefer that we are able to use banks as long as possible, because once we try to cut away banks, we'll be cutting our own hand, because they will come out very hard at us. Then you have central banks making, or even the Federal Reserve saying, okay, no more Bitcoin, and then we are done. So I believe in regulations, and when we talk about AI, the part AI is going to play is probably data, right? When you go to a lot of developing countries, they don't have data. The only people that have the data are the telecommunications company or the social media company. Now, the best use case of a digital payment system is M-Pesa in Kenya, right? M-Pesa was able to succeed because Vodafone was one of the shareholders, the principal shareholder of M-Pesa, because they had the data of the people, which the government did not have, right? So in any developing countries or every developed countries, the people that have the data are the social media or the telecommunication company. For example, that is the only reason you have Calibra trying to raise $1 billion to do payment system, because they have 1.6 billion people on Facebook, and you have other foundations, other companies with them that make up the foundation that have almost 2 billion people that they can use. So if they come up with a payment system and using the data that they have and using AI analysis, they are able to target the group of people that they want to use that payment system. So payment system is going to be huge, yes. Crypto payment system is very far away.
Yeah.
Here in Japan, we already use it's already a cashless society. My child goes somewhere without cash, he pays with his phone. He goes to a convenience store, he pays with his phone. He take a bath, he pays with a phone. He wants something, it's his phone. Or they have a sticker card or a Nanaco card that they can just pay with. So that is already working. But where we want to happen is to integrate the traditional finance and the digital finance together, or the crypto wallets. Once we are able to succeed in doing this, and the only thing that can make it faster is AI intelligence. Now, there was something on LinkedIn I saw that the guy is not afraid of artificial intelligence, he's afraid of human intelligence declining. Artificial intelligence is going up, human intelligence is going down. So we need to educate more people in a simple language, not using the word decentralized. No, make it simple for them to understand. Because a lot of people are not literate financially. A lot of people are not literate in blockchain. A lot of people are literate in cryptocurrency. How do we explain to these people in the rural areas, in the villages, to understand that blockchain is a plus, not a minus? Now, people even misunderstand blockchain for MLM, right? That is different. That is different altogether. So who is teaching them about this? That we're going to do multi-level marketing on blockchain. No, it's not blockchain. It's not even crypto. So we have to be able to differentiate in order to protect ourselves, who are blockchain investors or blockchain inventors, or doing projects on blockchain. So we have a lot of education to do here. But I do believe that payment system, M-Pesa as an example, is all about data, and artificial intelligence will help us to sort out data very well. You have Mojello, you have Silo, you have Acoin coming up. They are all coming up, and it's all payment.
Great. So basically, I think AI, artificial intelligence, has a huge sort of benefit in promoting the payment system that we have coming up as well, including blockchain and crypto use cases, as Kingsley said. Talking about, I just want to know, financial inclusion is very important. That's only, I think, if we are talking about payments, we are talking about currencies, financial inclusion is very important to be able to give access to everybody. Everybody in this world should have access to money, right? So how can FinTech bring this financial inclusion? It's a very important topic. I would like to know, are you investing into any projects, Alpesh and Kingsley? Are you looking from that front that, we would like to make finance and money accessible to everybody in this world? So how can FinTech, through your help, by your investments, be able to do that, achieve that? Who would like to start this, Alpesh?
I can tell you. I mentioned the company that I started to form back in 2015, right? Mm-hmm. That around payments. To be able to get financial inclusion for the unbanked is a really, really hard problem. Really hard problem. The way that, as I mentioned earlier, about having a wallet on a phone and a smartphone, and enabling parties to effectively do their banking on their wallet and their app on that phone, is how it's going to happen. That's how it's going to happen. Traditional banks, they're just too slow. They're too slow in the emerging markets. They don't serve the unbanked, and they don't want to serve the unbanked because they're not profitable. So I know a bunch of fintechs. I've done a bunch of fintechs who've tried to do this multiple times. The challenge isn't building the tech; it's already there. Really, the challenge is how do you create the model for adoption, and that is the hard bit. And as I said, as commerce has changed in the last year, as if you think about, I mentioned Ant Group and the wallets that they created, and the payments companies that are emerging in the emerging markets. They're the ones that are enabling this, the unbanked to be. I wouldn't say you would call them they're banked, but they have a wallet to be able to collect money and save money and spend money. And I think that's I think is the way it's going to happen. I don't think the traditional banks are ever going to do that. There are startups out there that I know. I was talking to a startup in Philippines, I think it was.
Yeah.
They want to do that. They want to serve the unbanked.
Yeah.
That's fine. Having the desire to do that. their business model has got to be very different to a traditional banking business model, because you can't, the revenues you'd get. So, you know, somebody who is unbanked right now, the amount of money they have is tiny compared to a profitable customer. You have to find efficient ways of getting them to use an app and saying, hey, I've got a payment app. Like, yeah, so what? You've got to be able to do things with that payment app, with the app, with the wallet. You've got to do something with the wallet, like pay a bill or buy things with it. And the only people who are doing that, as far as I know, to scale is the people like Ant Group and WeChat, those kind of guys, because they've already proven it works in China. They've proven it. They've got 800 million, probably 900 million people, and a large chunk of those were unbanked before. And they've made it work, and that's what they're doing in these other countries. So the reality is, however much you like it or not, these large companies are the ones that have the adoption play, because they play the long game. They're not interested in short-term profitability like banks are. They have to do their quarterly or yearly reporting. They don't care about that. They want to get everybody to use their wallets. And they're going about, that's what they're doing. And I think they're the ones that have helped significantly. However much we like it or not, that's what they've achieved. They've enabled these people who are unbanked to be banked with these mechanisms.
I think that's a great point, Alpesh. Banks, so probably are not interested in anything less than any profit. Like, as you said, you know, so all these people in this emerging markets are unbanked, as you say. I mean, probably banks don't see them as profitable. So a fintech player who is trying to solve this problem with the app solution, you're going to say that it's not going to be successful, because the fintech is again working with a bank to bring in financial inclusion for this unbanked. So if this fintech player cannot with an app, then
fintech is a big subject. I'm sure McKinsey knows this, right? Fintech is a huge area. It's not a tiny area. It's huge.
Very huge.
So many different services. Yeah. Different countries have different ways of delivering wallets and payments and lending and all of those things. So it's country specific. Yeah, it's country specific.
Somebody's saying hello to you.
What you have right now is countries trying to strangle cryptocurrencies. You know, with regulation. We're going to ban it, right? You have Nigeria, you have India saying we're going to ban it. Now, why is this? This is so because those behind traditional finance, those behind banks are very powerful. They don't want change. You know, they don't want, when you look at people that are trying to go into cryptocurrency a lot, there are people from developing countries that have lost trust in their system.
Yeah.
Countries like Japan, where I live, or UK, they're not really that pushing for it because they have a system that works. Take, for example, if we were to put modular refineries in Venezuela, where from where you start doing the oil to refining the product, to the byproduct, to the waste product, it's a blockchain, which means it's transparent. Everybody can invest in it. But the smart contract automatically shares the dividends to everybody. So nobody can pocket the money. Is the government willing to do this? Are you able to explain to a government that want to take money out, when they want to take it out, not to do so because blockchain is going to stop them from doing that? That is a problem. So we are faced with problems with financial institutions, with government bodies, because we are going against their beliefs. So the only way to help play with it is to allow them to regulate us. If there is no regulation in any country, like I said, I am lucky that I live in a country that embraced cryptocurrency from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
When South Korea said no, China said no, Japan said yes.
Yeah.
And this was a boost for Japan, even their economy. And today they have adopted different ways to make sure that their investors are protected. Now,
Yes.
when you don't have regulations, your people are not protected. They are investing in the space through cloud, through internet, through companies abroad, and they are not protected. So we have regulations in every country that protect the investors and protect the individuals putting their money into it. And then maybe the bank will not accept it. Like you said, the banks are willing to change. You put your money there, they use the money to trade. Have you ever been to the bank and say, hey, I have $1 million right here. Can I see my $1 million? Nobody does that because your $1 million is not there. It's working somewhere else for them. So the fintech is here to take their business, and they are saying, no, you will not take my business. We know you are faster. We know they cannot steal from it, but they will give every excuse not to do it. And so we need to collaborate with them. We need to work with them. We need to work with the government. We need to work with the central banks, with the various banks to make sure that the unbankables, as we call them, are real. Because there is no way an individual can say, okay, I'm going to start a QRO system or a voucher system to reach everybody when you don't even have enough money to push it forward. You don't have enough investors. So Ant Group, Calibra, and the rest of them, they have Mojello, which is, and then you have Cello. They all have the money to do that. So they are the one that will be able to reach the populace first. Will be able to give them incentive, build them mentalities, build them schools to encourage them to put their money there. So we need the big players.
Yeah, I think very good points, Kingsley. Very good points for our startups and entrepreneurs who are watching the show today. I just want to know, as a closing session, remarks as well, what's the future of the payments industry? Because today's topic is on fintech and payments. Fintech, as Alpesh and Kingsley say, it's a broad. It encapsulates blockchain and crypto now as well. So besides other things. So what's the future of the payments industry? Because we know there are so many players, big and small, and how to sustain for long. And the big players buying the small players is another way. But I would like to know from you, both of you, what's the future for the payment industry? Alpesh?
Unfortunately, the payments industry is very complicated. Saying the word payments and then thinking about what actual payments is. The payments industry is actually a whole suite of different vertical markets within payments. Right. You know, payments is not just one thing, it's 50 things, right? And each of these markets are changing. Yeah. Right. So for example, in the credit card market with MasterCard and Visa and a bunch of the other ones, right? There are players coming in. There's a US company called WiseTac, which basically is providing lending directly to an individual via a third party, via a B2B. It's a B2B2C play to avoid you having to put, for example, if you had a plumber and you couldn't afford to pay $3,000 to fix your central heating, you can get this guy and they'll fund you rather than putting it on your credit card. You get funding through that. So, and that's just one type of payment in one little part of the vertical. You mentioned remittances. That's another area. So the overall question I always say is payments is so many different verticals and all of them are being disrupted. The traditional payments around credit cards, around movement of money around the world, like with Swift is one example, which moves money around the world. Those things are not going to change anytime soon because large corporations rely on those things to move money. I mean, how efficient or inefficient they are, they're not going to change. The innovation will be around products and services like the one I described to you. Lending and SME lending is one massive one that's going to disrupt it because the big banks cannot on their balance sheet invest in smaller, more risky companies because their balance sheets can't compete with it. So I wouldn't rely on fintech and payments being one thing. There's lots of different things ultimately, and there are lots of opportunities. The primary thing around all of these things is how do you go to market to get your product and service adopted by a customer? That's what it boils down to. That for me is the key. And when you're looking for investment, that's what you look for.
Ah, got it. Thank you, Alpesh. Nicely explained. So those who are watching us today, that's what it is. Thank you so much, Alpesh. So Kingsley, what's your insights as a closing remark as well?
Hopefully, my grandchildren don't have to carry cash around. What digital payment is going to do they are solving two problems. If you look at developing countries, they have to go to the market, carry cash home, and then they are robbed at home and their money is gone. So when you have a cashless society, you are providing security for the people right there because they will not go into their house and try to steal their money, which happens on a daily basis in developing countries. It doesn't happen much in developed countries. Now, knowing both sides of the coin, I do hope that my children's children don't use fiat currency. My children don't already use it right now, so I'm happy about that because it's Japan. But what are people in developing countries? When are they going to get that system? Just a simple digital payment system to buy palm fruit or buy palm oil or buy granite oil or buy bread or buy go to a burger shop and pay with a card, a digital card instead of a phone instead of cash. Now these use cases are going to happen soon. Now the banking sector have actually failed the public because a lot of SMEs are not being funded by them. Now, when you look at the simple artisans, like you said, okay, your water heater is bad, right? So these artisans need money, mechanics, tailors. Now, they are supposed to be funded by the small banks, either microfinance bank or commercial banks. But commercial banks right now are pursuing big corporations or big individuals to get their money. They are forgetting that their work is to lend money to these individuals who have a regular salary that they can take from every month as payment, the loan. But they are not giving them loan. Somebody have a good job. He wants to open a business for the wife, and then you don't give the person a loan. Why not? You can have a system that you automatically deduct the money from the salary on a monthly basis. So there's a lot the commercial bank is not doing that payment system can do easily.
Right.
Like funding the, like you said, funding education for children. For example, your child is going to university and you need, let's say, $40,000 and you don't have it. But if there is a system that will give you that money for now without having to go to beg the bank every day for 1 year, and then your child misses the university education, then it is easy for the parents or the society to grow. Otherwise, we have a system that does not support the common people. The banks are running after the rich corporation, the big corporation. Now, people like Ant Group and the rest are trying to say, okay, let us fix this system. Let us make sure that the common man is able to also use the system. So they have to provide the education, they have to provide the fund, they have to provide the community centers, they have to help the artisans that make everything work. We forget about them a lot. You know, we just see our life, okay, we are cool, we are okay, we are making money, we are this. No, there are people that still live from day to day. They work, whatever they work in a day is what they have. And if this money is taken from them, or if they don't have small investment of like $500 to push their business forward, we have a problem. So my goal or my what I expect to happen is there will be a system that will attend to these people. There will be use cases of where you are able to, if you're not able to use cryptocurrency and you are just holding it, it doesn't make sense. Because right now people are just holding their cryptocurrencies. They cannot use it. You can only use it to invest, yes, but you cannot use it to buy something in the supermarket. Except in Japan, we can use it a big camera to buy things. So these are things we have to look at, use cases to make sure that the common man is able to use it and make sure that they get better life out of it.
I think you can buy Tesla now with Bitcoin. I think we're not far off.
You can buy Tesla with Bitcoin. You can buy watches with Bitcoin in Tokyo. There's a company that does that. You can buy TV with Bitcoin. You can buy appliances with Bitcoin. Some people are even selling buildings with Bitcoin. So it's coming up.
It's coming up. It's coming up. Great. Thank you both. So Alpesh, just a quick one. I mean, talking about fintech and payments, obviously, as you so rightly said, there are so many sub verticals to both. The fintech is wide. I mean, there's just too many things under fintech. Just talking about payments. So what would you like to, probably when you have forthcoming sessions like the sessions on VCTV, what exactly would you like to be a subtopic for the payments, so that we can just include that?
Well, I mean, one of the areas that is really interesting, which is growing like crazy, is SME lending.
SME lending, right?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, there's I don't know what the numbers are. I've heard like there's a shortage of $2 trillion of SME lending needed, for example.
Right.
And the banks aren't going to do this, right? I mentioned Wisetack as a company based in Silicon Valley are taking that on. Okay, that's the 2 trillion is for emerging SMEs, not for Western markets. But even in traditional markets, SMEs find it very hard to raise money, and there's a whole brief of startups. So SME lending so we're talking to one of the world's largest commodities companies, and they have hundreds of thousands of farmers. They want to fund the farmer to improve their livelihoods. So this is all to do with sustainability and SDG goals. So for example, funding the farmer to educate their children or to get a better yield on the crops that they grow for the commodities company on their farm. That is a hugely beneficial, social beneficial, as well as financially beneficial.
Wow, fantastic! We're going to include that SME lending next time.
And that is very easy to do, because, for example, the farmer have a corn farm. You invest in the corn farm, you help him to harvest the corn, you help him to sell it, and then you already take your money out by yourself and pay him the remaining dividends. So I mean, yes, that's a good use case that I'll just mention. You know, the whole ecosystem can be set up to benefit the common man.
So where can people find you, Alpesh and Kingsley, and what's your what did you feedback about VCTV? Because you've been a regular speaker, Alpesh, and Kingsley is like family. We are like one family. So Alpesh, welcome to family.
So you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is there. You can obviously find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter at Alpesh Doshi. And I come on these things to have an interesting discussion with fellow participants. It's always useful to have a discussion and get some insights from fellow participants. I don't know whether I add any value. I'm hoping I do to the audience and give ideas to the audience, which is always nice to do. So yeah, thank you. It's great. It's great to be on.
I think one of the audience just said hi to you. Hello, ma'am, and Alpesh, sir.
I don't know how to respond. AJ.
Hi, Ajay Kumar.
Send me a tweet at Alpesh Doshi. Send me a tweet.
Yes. Okay. Cool. At Alpesh Doshi. Thank you so much. Kingsley, over to you, please. VCTV without you is not VCTV for sure.
I love VCTV from the start. I always say LATOKEN VCTV is doing a very great job educating the people. Myself as a panelist, I'm also learning a lot every day, talking with people. So you have provided a platform that bring investors together, that bring people to pitch, that allow people to learn more about different subjects, and also allow us that are speaking to learn from each other and to connect and be able to invest together in a project that we both have similar interest. For me, it's a family right now because I'm here almost every day. So I love VCTV. You get, especially when Sonny is doing it, because Sonny is very. I'm not saying this because you are here. Because most of the time, my slots with other people have been cancelled 15 minutes. I don't like that. Tell me a day before. Don't tell me 15 minutes, 5 minutes before that it's cancelled. No, you don't do that. You make sure that it happens. And that is very important because time has value, right? Yes. Time has value. So people have to use their time judiciously. So you making time for us and we making time for you is good to educate the people on the next step to take in life. You reach me on kingsleykobayashi.com, kingsley@kingsleykobayashi.com. You can reach me on Instagram, Facebook, and just Google my name and I'll be there. I'm willing to invest. Like I say, there is no bad project.
Yes.
There is no bad project. It is our duty. It is our responsibility to teach you how to make a project better, or to combine your project with a different project and make it work. So don't be shy to bring your projects forward, and let us look at it for you.
Absolutely. That's why. Thank you, Kingsley and Alpesh, for the feedback. Really, really appreciate that. Again, entrepreneurs and startups who are watching us today, Kingsley just rightly said, there is no bad project. If you have an idea, come on to VCTV and pitch your idea. And we are happy to help you connect with these investors. And thank you so much for your time today. I'm back tomorrow on another episode of VCTV with another set of speakers and a new topic and some interesting, insights from the topics as always. And thanks for being a part of VCTV, Kingsley and Alpesh. And take care. Have fun.
Thank you, Sonny. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.